So we're called to order. Is there any revisions or changes to the agenda?
I'm supposed to remind you about correspondence.
I do have one correspondence. Does anybody in TV land have anything? I see a couple heads shaking no, so I'm going once, going twice, going 3 times. Cool. We will add, I am gonna add a correspondence under new business. I'm sorry, I'm gonna add a correspondence before the executive session. So we'll call it 6A. And Emily, you may be able to help us with that. So, approve the minutes of the November 15th, 2023 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Okay, Al moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Al Jr. or Joe seconded it. Is there any discussion from anybody? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Please say nay. Hearing none, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is, so the minutes are approved. I'd like, we have an executive session item with Lori Garland, so, and I think Heidi, are you staying for that or not?
It's up to you.
Lori, do you want Heidi to stay?
You have an executive session with me?
Yeah, this is the childcare thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's a contractual issue, a contractual personnel issue.
Heidi can stay. It's good for her to be on this one.
That's what I wondered. So, okay, thank you. Can somebody make, we got a couple motions to make in a second. Can somebody do that for me?
I would like to make a motion. I move to find that the premature general public knowledge would clearly place the board at substantial disadvantage.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion that Kate made?
Second.
Al seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. We have another motion, Kate?
I motion to enter executive session under 1 VSA 313A1 for the purpose of discussing contracts with employees.
And Al
Second.
seconds it. All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is, so we'll be moving into executive session at, I have about 7:08. Okay, so by unanimous consent, we're out of executive session. So Lori, can you explain the issue that we were discussing, please?
Sure. We were discussing Act 76, which is a new law that will go into effect on July 1st, 2024, and it is an act related to child care and early childhood education. The law makes major investments in Vermont child care system and mandates policy changes that will impact child care in both early childhood and school age settings. This is a new payroll tax that the state of Vermont will put into play, as I said, July 1st. It's 0.44% of every dollar earned. And there is a mechanism in the law that you could pass along 0.11% of that 0.44 to employees. And I would need a motion to that effect.
So if we wanted to pass the 0.11 of the 0.44 on, we would make that as a motion to have the superintendent do a side letter for the employees.
Right.
Okay. So, hearing that, is there anybody who'd like to make a motion? Okay, hearing no motion, I think we can move on. Is everybody good with that? Okay. Lori, I'm sorry, Bob, the 24-25 calendar.
Right, so, obviously, pardon my newness to all this, but, from what I understand, we are directed by statute to create a calendar that is consistent with regional career centers. So the regional superintendents got together and established a baseline calendar that aligns the career centers in our region. And so that sort of the southeast, well, and even up to the upper valley region, all will be sharing a similar structure for the Thanksgiving break, for the December break, for the February break, and for the April break. And similar start dates as well. So this calendar that you have in front of you is, at this point, the draft. The leadership team has worked with it, has developed the early release days. We have developed the PD schedule for the extra days for teachers and both students, and this is the draft that we are presenting to you for approval.
Okay, is there any questions for Bob? Go ahead, Kate.
So I've had some discussions recently with folks that, would we ever consider, I think we did it a few years ago, but having an alternate February vacation week from a lot of the other communities? I know that us being a more tourism-based destination, it's hard to have the kids out of school that week with a lot of people working in tourism. And it's really hard for families to travel because rates are really high. But
Yeah, so I mean, this is the tricky part. As I learned this year, I've always been curious, like, why it happens the way it happens.
Here's somebody who wants to come in.
What's that? Oh, sorry. Oh, Rory must have get kicked out here. So we have to align, obviously, all the ones that send to Brattleboro have to align. So that's RSU, and Windham Southwest, and Windham Northeast, which also sends kids to Springfield. So now Springfield has to be aligned with Brattleboro. Well, Springfield also has kids that enter there who come from as far north who also can attend Hartford. So now Hartford has to be aligned. And then as you go to the other direction, I'm trying to think of which, going somehow, so Two Rivers District, which is Chester and Ludlow, which go to Springfield, have some kids that also live in Mount Holly that go to Rutland. And so like you end up with a situation where through these different tentacles, everybody basically either has to have the same one. So there was a lot of laughter about the idea of having a statewide calendar where there would be, and I guess that's been, so maybe I'm like, and she's laughing right now already, about the likelihood of that happening, which seemed like it was kind of slim perhaps. But really what led to is if you have to align with your regional career centers, like it almost leads to the fact that the whole state should have the same calendar. And so just a matter of then picking which weeks. And then you get into some states are on the border and then they have to send kids to them. So what does the Keene school system do? Because Fall Mountain kids also go to, you know what I'm saying? So like, and then you have some interstate district ones up in the Upper Valley region who have kids in Hanover or Rivendell.
Well, Stanford kids go down to the.
Right, so it's, the short version is I've learned a ton and it's a mess. So like this, to get everyone to agree that these weeks would be the ones that we picked was such an incredible work of art that we didn't get into discussing whether or not alternative weeks would be preferable. So that's kind of where they landed. And I don't know where the pressure comes from, but being one of the smaller SUs, we're kind of like, and we don't host a career center. So we're kind of like in the middle waiting for people to decide what they want to do.
But Kate,
So
in Dover before.
You
we
have
had-
that Rory in the waiting room again.
again,
Oh, in Dover, we had changed the calendar because of that same concern from parents and the schools. So, but again, too, with us not having, River Valley's now not having a high school, it really doesn't do as much as it used to, because then students, parents, families that have high school and grade school students then have different schedules.
Right.
Even though they really like, because most of the time the high school kids can stay home alone, but it's kind of more of the daycare portion of, you know,
Yeah.
let the parents be able to work and they don't have to worry about daycare. So it can be also done on the local level.
I heard stories of people who work in one district and kids go to a different one, having different vacation weeks as well, which is incredibly disruptive to families, and that happening in multiple different directions. And it was like, people, as I learned more about it, it was like, whoa, like this is way more complicated than I thought it was. Like I thought it was like, let's just pick a week and move on.
No.
But it's not. It's really complex. Wow, maybe Emily can tell us about her push for a statewide calendar. I don't know. It's going to be in the next bill I think she proposes, probably, right, Emily?
Oh, that's one of those bills that nobody ever wants to deal with because the blow up, it's just like our challenges here. Every community has their own wishes and needs. And as soon as you start talking about a statewide calendar, all hell breaks loose, just saying. And so I don't actually know if there is any legislation proposed for that. I haven't looked to see whether there's any, but we haven't taken anything up in years on that.
Can I just back Kate up on that though? Just if you guys ever do have the chance to have that conversation, whether it's Emily or Bob or what have you, Kate was so on the money with what our area needs. So if that ever comes up, if that could be a consideration to have an off February break for folks, that would be really impactful for us out here.
So you're saying just a different week than what is the traditional like Massachusetts, Connecticut weeks? Or are you talking about like a
Yes.
1 week in March instead and a combined thing?
No, like I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we had the week after.
The week and a half, yeah.
Well, and it was so impactful for my family because my husband was working at the resort and we were able to travel the week after, and we went to a nice place and had phenomenal lodging rates.
Right.
And right now, like if I tried to take my children anywhere that week, plus now I work at a resort and that's an impactful week.
Yeah.
But, you know, looking at the calendar too, if winter break was February 24th through the 28th, you know, then you take the Monday off anyways, so you get like, it's a little bit longer of a break too, because then town meeting, you know, so you would go back on the 5th.
And that's how it worked out that year
No,
too, so it was
I remember
Well,
think it was
that.
2021.
we've done that before in Dover a lot of
Yeah.
times, as we've moved it, and even though we're off schedule, it didn't, you know, it's something that the parents in the community was a lot happier with.
It's just really tough for parents with kids and because there's no childcare that week. So you have all these folks, like Kate said, in tourism, and there is nowhere for the children to go.
But, so anyways, though, just because of the high school issue and stuff, I know it's something that we can all harass people with, but I think as Windham Central, we need to go with the superintendent schedule, because it really, if you were to change it for the high school, then all the students in high school that go to the career center, they'd have to be there for both weeks.
Right. And since Dover sends kids to Brattleboro, for example, and Marlboro sends kids to Brattleboro, this is the schedule they're using.
Right.
So like that's, you know. The only other piece I would just add to is that there was a lot of conversation this year that rippled up to me around the last day of December before break, and why that was not a half day on the calendar this year. My response was, I didn't build the calendar. So I had like this year of like, you know, being able to say, well, let's reach out to Bill, maybe you could ask him. At any rate, and so Rich and I had some conversation about it, just because I was curious about what the reason was, because there were years when it was. And particularly the elementary schools, I think they felt strongly that like things can get a little goofy, and the value of that day can get challenging. Never mind a full day of it. And so I said, well, I would bring it to the board and just say, this is what the request is coming from principals and from teachers, to ask if that was something that the board would consider. I think Richard's explanation to me, which was a valid one, had to do with it had been done at times when it was closer to the holiday, and thus gave families more travel time, was the logic, I guess. So anyways, I'll just put that out to you guys to see what you guys think, but
this year they get 2 days off before, 2 full days off before Christmas on this calendar.
And the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a number of half days in which families are trying
Already
to
starting
make
to
work.
Yep. So,
I mean, again, I think the calendar looks pretty good. I don't know why we wouldn't go to school on the 23rd and give them the whole 24th off or something, but it's, it gets you the right number of days, because the other thing that's a little interesting is, if you look in June, you have the last day for students in June is a Monday, and then it's kind of like, is that gonna be productive for anything too?
I'll call a rain day next year, so it'll probably be Tuesday.
Yeah. But anyways, again, we could really beat this up, but I think it pretty much is what it is. So is there anybody who'd like to make a motion? Is there anybody who'd like to have more discussion? Is there?
And before you do, I guess the other question is, this just goes to this board, correct? This does not go to individual boards for approval?
No, it used to be the individual boards, but
Because they were different schedules, yeah.
right, but now I think we've tried it because of the SU having to coordinate the special programs and pretty much everybody's just gone with this.
Yep.
Because you guys haven't voted a different calendar.
And all the principals are on board with this, and for West River, I believe what I'm understanding is that Leland Gray will not be doing the late starts anymore, because there was a question that was raised by a couple of board members about the alignment of those with the half days and how that caused problems for families. They will revert back to using the half days for the rest of the district. So that helps, brings things in better alignment for West River.
I'll make a motion to approve the WCSU 2024-25 calendar as presented.
Do I have a second to Al's motion?
Sure.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Hearing none, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative.
Thank you all.
Hey, Lori, I'm sorry, I messed up. So you didn't have to stay all night. I was gonna move items C and E up. C is the 2-year rolling average ADM assessment data. And then E is the financial management questionnaire. I think that's all you needed to be here for, right?
Yes.
So you wanna do your 2-year rolling average ADM assessment data and say it 10 times fast?
Sure. I think Heidi prepared some packets for you to look at that you should have in front of you, and I can share my screen.
Thank
you. Let me make sure I have it up here. I can have sharing
Should
right.
repeat that again. Bob,
Bob, can you give Sharon breaks to look?
Rory's also in the waiting room yet again.
Vermont internet is magical.
Where is Rory?
Wyndham.
Wyndham? Oh, yeah, say no more.
The wind is blowing, the internet's out.
You got it? Rory, stop leaving us.
Hang on 1 second.
I'm sorry, I can't pull up any documents while I'm on the phone with everything.
Oops. No, can everybody see a multi? What are you seeing?
Three colors. Yeah, we see, I mean, it's on TV really far away, but yes, we see the document.
Can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. So I am, Rich, we talked about at the last meeting about what to use for assessment data. And down here at the bottom, it says the superintendent's budget assessment methodology is determined by using, we use the 2-year rolling average of students in the buildings for the superintendent's budget for each school district. And the reason being in the buildings, so is because that's typically where the business office and the, technology and the superintendent spend the bulk of the time. The MTSS is a little bit different. So that is actually all the 2-year rolling ADM, because we do have students that the tuition students out there that do receive special ed services. So those are the two methodologies that we use. So it really has become quite difficult to get that 2-year rolling average in a timely manner. And as a matter of fact, I could not get updated information from the AOE. In fact, today I got another version, and West River lost a student, right? So it changes several times over the course of the budgeting process. And, you know, you can just imagine that if I had to go back and change the assessments in Windham Central 6 times, and then go through every single budget and change those assessments for each line item 6 times during a budgeting season, it doesn't make sense. So I think that what we were looking at is using last year's 2-year rolling ADM for the upcoming fiscal year, which is in the end what I had to do for this year because I never received the final data. So by default, that's what happened this year. So Heidi pulled together this information, which is it's good information to have and to look at as far as how do things change from year to year. So you know, the first page is just everybody. You can see everybody on the first page and the percentages that it changes year over year. And then going down, we put in the 2-year rolling average for the totals to show you, you know, it actually is much more volatile than I had thought it would be, to be honest with you, when it's plotted out. For example, Marlboro has really changed significantly, and we know had a big drop this year. Same thing for River Valley, so not as significant of a drop, but definitely seeing it go down. So there's not as much volatility there. And then Stratton, this is no surprise to Allison. We were talking about this at their board meeting, how back years ago, they were around 33 students. So that's a 2-year rolling average, and then it ramped up and now it's headed back down again. And West River, as we know, has been on a pretty steady decline. Not a lot of volatility there. And then Windham has had some ups and downs as well. So it's really just to illustrate that it can be different for each district every year. So using 1 year back really doesn't, over the long term, really doesn't have a large effect. So that's the data. Is anybody talking and I can't hear them?
Nope.
Nope.
No? Okay.
We're all listening intently to you, Lori.
Something's wrong with my thing.
She can't hear us.
Can you hear us okay, Lori?
I think I lost my sound.
We are still here. We can hear you.
Well, while she's trying to find her sound, if you remember, we had this discussion back around budget time, and we asked Lori to get us these just to kind of see how it would sugar out for people. So can you hear us, Lori, now? So I think the idea.
Feel free to jump in on any of this because I have.
So I think what we want to do is we would want to make a motion from, you know, in the future that we would use the weighted average daily membership from the year before so that she could set real numbers and then they don't change for us. And I think if you look, you know, even at West River, you went up a little 1 year, you go down. You know, the people that are really moving, bouncing all over the place, if you really look at it, is Marlboro has quite a bit of downward trend. But they also had a year where they had a pretty big upward trend too. And then, you know, the Windham has got a little bit of motion, but not as much as Marlboro. So if we wanted to move forward with using this, we would just need to make a motion that from here until it changes, we make a motion to change it, that we would use the previous year's weighted average daily membership.
Unweighted.
Unweighted, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's unweighted.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We would use the long-term 2-year ADM unweighted
Thank you.
when we're deciding on SU superintendent's budget. Assessments, thank you. So does somebody have that motion down? Al?
And it's the previous 2 years, not the.
It's a 2-year rolling average,
Yeah.
unweighted, yes.
Well, it's the previous year's, whatever
It's
that
what we
number
use,
is.
which is-
Right, it's
yes.
a 2-year, it's a 2-year,
Right.
long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for that previous year.
So if you're making a motion to use the unweighted numbers from the previous year, we all know that it's a 2-year rolling average. So
Right.
however you want to put that in there.
I think if you read the top
Yeah, if
line.
you read that, that says it
Yeah.
all.
Is Lori back yet?
No, she's gonna turn it off and try to come back.
Okay. Is there any discussion, any thoughts or comments while we're waiting for a motion or waiting for Lori? Go ahead, Emily.
I just wanted to ask for those of us who aren't sitting in the room with the hard copies, if this could be emailed to board members as well. Thank you.
Can you do that, Bob, sir? Or Heidi, you'll do
Heidi
that?
does that.
Okay.
Yes,
No rush, just Lori or Heidi.
We'll take care of it tomorrow if that's okay.
It's a really pretty chart. Anybody else in TV land? Bells are ringing. Anybody in the room? Any questions, comments? Somebody like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move that we use the long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for the superintendent's, what was it?
Assessment.
Assessments, thank you.
Can you say previous year?
Right.
Sure, previous year.
So the motion is the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for the superintendent's office assessment.
Yes.
Is that a good motion?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
I knew it. Bob is smiling up on me.
What I heard.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Kate will second Joe's motion.
Okay, so Kate seconds the motion. Discussion, Lori's back,
Almost.
almost.
Now she's back.
Hey,
back.
Lori, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hey, so Joe just made a motion to use the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for the superintendent's assessments. And we have a second to that motion. Heidi was good with it. Are you good with that?
Yes, is that for both budgets, the super and the MTSS, or just the super?
I thought we were just doing it for the super, because I thought you were using something that for the MTSS anyways.
Yeah, it's a little different between the two. Remember, I was saying that one is the students that are in the buildings is the one that's for the super. So and that's historical. And so it hasn't ever been like River Valley's, who tuitions their students out, a large number of their students out, has never been included. That number hasn't been included in the superintendent's assessment. But for when I built the MTSS, I included all the students because it does affect all the students, right? So if I were to rework that, then I think that it would change assessments pretty significantly. So I don't think we want to rework that methodology at this
The
point.
MTSS methodology.
The supers methodology.
Oh,
Oh, shoot, did we?
So you want to include wording for both the superintendent's assessment as well as the MTSS assessment in this motion?
Correct. that to use the 2-year rolling average based on the methodologies that are current now.
Isn't that what I said?
Do you want the word methodology in that motion?
What's that?
Do you need the word methodology in that motion?
No, I guess not. I didn't hear the motion, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Hang on a second, Meredith, can you read back what you have for the motion, please?
Well, kind of, but I was kind of changing it as you spoke. It said that, I think it was Joe that made the motion to use the previous year's long-term, or whoever, we can change that. To
It was
use the
Joe.
previous year's long-term 2-year ADM based on the methodologies that are current now for the super.
No, that was what Lori asked for, but Joe's motion was to use the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM.
Unweighted.
Unweighted. Yeah, hang on a second, unweighted for the superintendent's office assessment. That was the motion.
That was the motion.
And that was what Kate seconded. And then when Lori came back on, she mentioned the idea about the methodology. So I guess, it's a good thing we're having discussion. Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
I think it's important to stay with the same methodologies that we've used, which is separate for the super and the MTSS budget, that historically. I think it's important to stay with that methodology, but just to tie it to the previous year's 2-year rolling ADM, unweighted rolling ADM. So I think it's an important distinction, I guess, when we're making this motion.
Isn't that what the motion is? I guess I'm confused.
What should the motion be, yeah?
Yeah, what should the motion be? We move to use the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for the superintendent's assessments. So, we're not talking about how you're doing them or the methodology of dividing them. We're just saying this is what you want to use for the number to plug in, right?
Okay.
But I think I see what you're saying now though, but you're using a different number for the MTSS?
Correct.
Okay, and that number is the current year's?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, where's that number come from?
That number is a 2-year rolling average, but it includes all students. So it would include all of River Valley's students, okay, which is different from the superintendent's that only includes the students in the building.
So what you really want to do is you want to have a motion to maintain the methodology differences between the two assessments, but to use the previous year's 2-year unweighted ADM rolling average to make the assessment.
Correct.
Is that accurate? But the methodology, the differences between the two are going to will stay distinct, but you're doing the 2-year rolling unweighted average for both budgets.
So Al is a co-chair, or Allison, would we ask for a withdrawal of the motion in a second, or would we just vote that motion down and make a new motion?
Just amend the motion.
Yes.
Well, if we amend the motion, then we have to vote on the amendment, then you have to vote on the main motion, and that's why,
Withdraw.
Isn't it easier to just withdraw?
well, either that or all to vote it down and try again, whichever way you guys wanna go. Okay, does everybody understand where we made the mistake is the methodologies are different, so MTSS counts all the students in this unweighted deal. The superintendent's budget just counts those students that are in your building. So it doesn't really make a difference for West River, but it does for Windham, River Valleys, and Marlboro and Windham, because we don't have high school students. So what Lori's saying is what we should be doing is saying we're gonna use the same methodology, students in the building, and we're gonna use the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for the assessment. Is that clear to everybody's mud?
And MTS, that's right.
Okay, so do you mind withdrawing your motion?
No, I
Do you
withdraw the
mind
motion.
withdrawing your second?
Not at all.
Okay, Meredith, that's all been withdrawn. Do you understand what we want to try to make?
What?
Bob said it pretty well there.
Yeah, Bob
Yeah,
said it
when
perfectly.
we say
Did you
it
get
again,
that,
We'll
Meredith?
say so moved.
Yeah, but Bob can't make a motion.
But we can say so moved.
Go ahead, Bob, tell us what you said.
Jesus. All right. Oh, Meredith
Wait,
has
you
it.
have it?
Go ahead, Meredith, read it.
I think so. Now I'm nervous. Joe Williams made a motion to maintain the methodology that are current now and incorporate the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted. The only problem I have is it for both assessments?
For the superintendent's assessment, right?
Both.
For both
Both.
assessments.
Okay, for both.
For both
MTS and
assessments.
Superintendent.
For both assessments, yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
moved. Yeah, I said that.
Okay,
I did it again.
Joe, you're like, you got a
Genius.
crystal ball.
Genius.
Okay, can I have a second to that?
Are we really happy?
Yeah, I think so.
I will make a second to Joe's
Okay,
motion.
Kate's will make a happy second. Okay, Meredith, do me a favor, please read that again.
Joe made a motion to maintain the methodologies that are current now and incorporate the previous year's long-term 2-year ADM unweighted for both assessments.
Okay.
Do you want to say, do you want to name them? Because we haven't mentioned them in the past, during this meeting.
I think we're okay, there's been enough discussion. Do you wanna, you guys are all good?
If Lori's happy, I'm happy.
Okay, so Lori's shaking her head, yes, I can see that without my glasses, and she's got a big smile. Okay, discussion. Is there any discussion on that?
And he left.
Is there any is there any stone we have not turned? Okay, if there isn't, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, is there any opposed? Please say nay. Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative, and it is. Lori, thank you for getting us through that.
Yeah. Well, thanks Heidi for bringing all that data. That was good, good data to look at.
Okay, so in your packet, this is our annual thing that we're not gonna spend a lot of time on this year because we just don't anymore. But there's a 2-page financial review thing, so Lori sent it to me. I told everybody they couldn't come in my office, and I spent 6.5 hours going through this, and I think I answered all the questions, and then Lori graded me and said I passed, so I felt very good. So it's basically, it's in your packets, and it was probably sent to you. There's questions like, does someone other than treasurer review bank reconciliations? And I didn't have the right person, I put yes, but it was director of finance, which is, Lori, and our financial records maintained in computerized system, Power School, EFP. So we answered all those questions. It's kind of good to know because there's some things that are specific more to like the high school. Do you guys charge when people go to like basketball games? Do they have to pay to get in?
Not students, but adults do.
Adults do? And then what does that go in the Bob Debo retirement
Can't
fund?
talk about Rich.
Okay. But, it's got questions like that. The ones I love, have you ever borrowed any money from the school district, or have you ever loaned money to the school district, or have you ever known the school district loan money to town employees? Well, if we're not gonna loan it to school employees, why would we loan it to town employees? So anyways, I guess I would just ask for a motion for the board chair to sign this.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second by Kate. Al moved it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. God bless you.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is, so I signed it. You can have it, Bob, when you leave.
All right.
Cool. Lori, do you have anything else?
No, thank goodness.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Rich, did you
Okay,
want to talk
everybody.
about correspondence while she was on?
No, I was hoping.
For Emily, okay.
Yeah,
Mhm, okay.
I don't want to put
Okay.
Emily on the spot, but no, thank you, Lori.
Talk to you later.
So the
Bye-bye.
next thing, because I think Greg Frost is still here, I'm gonna skip over to Transportation Subcommittee. So this was a gentleman from the West River Board, I think, came to a River Valley meeting because we had looked at buying, or we had a board member that was interested in an electric bus because we were buying a new bus, but there was some grant money, but you had to buy like 20 of them or something, I don't remember.
So yeah, he's not a board member. He's
Oh.
he's not a school board member. He's a member, and he's on this call. It's Paul Patus.
Yeah, okay,
But he's a member of a local coalition of pro-electronic bus people. But he's,
I'm sorry.
I don't know, Paul could probably explain it better, but he's a retired Leland and Gray teacher.
Okay, so anyways, he was asking, because we do have a board member who's very interested in, electric buses. I know that, maybe the West River people aren't so interested, but I didn't know if maybe, because it seems like it could be an SU-wide grant, if we wanted to do an SU-wide transportation subcommittee to look into the possibility of electrifying our vehicles that pick up the students. And also, I think that was it for this. I'm sorry.
Greg's got his hand up.
Okay, so yeah, Greg and then Paul will let you kind of explain what you want to bring forward.
So, as you recall, we had committed as an SU to creating an SU-wide transportation committee to address, just to kind of formally address the transportation issues that we have with bus routes and similar to how River Valley's current committee functions. And so we were just kind of thinking doing it district-wide and then to kind of formalize how we do bus routes and to then have the opportunity for members of the community, such as Paul, to be a part of that committee. I will own this one, having been a little overwhelmed with other issues. That committee hasn't exactly taken flight yet. I have a list of folks. One of the things I wanted to ask you all is, at this point, Dwight is the only board member on there, and I don't know if we would want more than one. And as we form a committee like this, should we have more than one community at-large position? At this point, we have like an at-large seat on the board, which would be one that is currently filled by Paul. And then would we potentially have, should we look for someone else, or I just didn't know if any of you all knew of any of the kind of committee bylaws per se. As
Well, subcommittees, the board has to vote to create a subcommittee. Did we vote to do the transportation subcommittee?
we did.
We did. When did we do that? I'm sorry.
10/25, the all board meeting at Leland and Gray. I just went back and checked the old minutes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, do you?
Kind of.
Oh, and what did we say? Usually we say what the makeup of the committee is gonna be. Did we have in that motion, or did we discuss the makeup of the committee at that time? I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
I think we did. I just didn't know if I needed more than one board member, if you all wanted more than one board member, as far as just having, more representation from you all than just Dwight. And part of it was also this summer I learned from training with Pietro that any committee that is a subcommittee by you, we have to offer, Zoom and numerous links. And so I've been trying to be patient about starting it so that I could ensure that I cover all my bases and do things the way they're supposed to be done.
Okay, hang on one second. Bob, do you have the minutes from that meeting?
Probably. I can't look at them without
Okay.
losing the TV.
Because usually the board would set I may have been off that night. The board usually sets the makeup of the committee. So what are you looking for, Greg, for a committee? What's the makeup you're looking for?
Okay, so what I have currently is is I have representatives, from West River. I have representatives from River Valley. I have the transportation coordinator from Marlboro, the bus driver from Windham. And then for a board member, I have just Dwight, and then I have myself from the SU, and for an at-large community member, I just have Paul. And I felt like there should probably be 2 board members, not that I want to put anyone on the spot.
Okay, so hang on a second then. And,
Yes, sir.
and is that what you feel would be a good makeup? 2 board members, representative from each entity that has transportation, right? Because you have West River, River Valley, Marlboro, and Windham. Our facilities person and an at-large member, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And do you think you need more? Because that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an odd number. That's always good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind that. I was thinking maybe even doing 2 community members, and that way if somebody else was interested, we would have them available. I know that when I spoke with Todd about this in the fall at West River, he had expressed, requesting to see if Mark Schauber would be interested, and he actually chaired it when it was just the River Valley's Transportation Committee, and he did a really nice job with it. And so I was thinking that if we had 2 spots, I would reach out to him to see if he'd be interested in.
Okay. So let's go on this in the board. We could do a 7 or an 8-member board if we do it. So a 7 would have 2 board members and 1 at large, and an 8-member board would have 2 at large and 2 board members plus each building, each entity that runs transportation, and then the facilities manager. Is there any overburdening desire? We could also set a committee up to 8 people or up to 9 people, and a minimum of 2 board members, 2 facilities, and then we can pick who that last person is. What do you all think? What do you all want to do? Anybody?
7's fine.
Okay. You want to make that a motion?
To
Have the transportation subcommittee be comprised of 7 members.
so moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Al, second by Joe. Transportation committee will be 7 people. So you're gonna have 2 board members and 1 at large.
2 board members?
Yeah, because that gives you your 7.
2 board members.
Well, no, you have
2 board members, the 3 bus people, the facilities person.
4 bus people.
1, 2.
Yeah, I thought it was only 1 board member.
Windham, River Valleys, Marlboro, and West River.
Wyndham, River Valley, Marlboro, so you're 4. Your transportation person is 5. You're at large. Okay, so it's 1 board member, 1 at large, and that's 7.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't hear.
No, hang on a second. Who is that?
That's Paul.
Chairman? Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Okay, hang on a second, Paul. We have a motion on the floor in a second to make it 7 people. Is everybody good with that? And Meredith, do you have that motion?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, we'll see.
Rich.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
If
Well,
Paul had
discussion,
something,
go ahead.
thank you. If Paul had something to say about the makeup of the committee, since he, I think, is part of it, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we had the motion set and then we would have discussion. So, Paul, go ahead. It's discussion time.
Okay, thanks, Richard, and thanks. So I just wanted to refer back to what Greg said about the possibility of including someone who's associated with West River Transportation, since they're involved in the current transportation, and any effort to, move to electric buses would certainly be good to have someone on the committee who speaks for or represents West River Transportation. So and I think Greg mentioned that would mean 2 at-large members. But I don't know, Greg, do you think that person that you mentioned would be interested?
Well, hang on a second, Greg. You have a West River person. You said there's a West River, a River Valley, a Marlboro, and a...
Yes, Todd has a table already, and that is
Okay.
who. Yeah, so we have a representative from West River. We have
Okay.
yeah, I have a representative from all the
Right.
transportation folks, and
Okay.
Cool. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Greg, so yes, you do have to warn meetings, you do have to take minutes, you do have to post the minutes, and you do have to make sure that they're open to the general public. Again, your committee can speak and you can take public comment, but you just have to run it like a regular board meeting. Maybe more better. I'm really struggling today.
that's great. I'll try not to show you up, Rich. Okay, I won't.
Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. I've always liked you, Greg.
Feeling is mutual, Rich.
Thanks. Greg used to umpire a lot of our games, so. Hey, superintendent evaluation process. So, we haven't done this for a little while because we did not do Bill's final year. We didn't evaluate him because we knew he wasn't gonna be here. And he didn't wanna run through the motions and nobody felt strongly about making him run through it. So, if you remember the last couple evaluations, Allison, because I just have so much technological experience and knowledge that I could not figure out how to do what Allison did. So Allison made a very nice evaluation that we can do online. And then Allison also was able to get all the downloads and put together a really nice report, and it worked really well. So Allison did pull up the old stuff. I couldn't even find it. That's how good I am with technology. And we had Bob look at it. Bob felt it would definitely help him to see where his strengths and weaknesses are, and if there's things that he's doing, he wants to change. So he was good with the evaluation process. So what we usually do is we give you till the end of February to complete this as a board. We send it to all the board members so that they know what the questions are, but each board needs to meet in executive session and to discuss that, because the answers, we only take one evaluation from each group, each board. We also invite the superintendent to self-evaluate himself, and we also ask the certified staff in the central office to do an evaluation, and we do ask Lori too. And then we also ask the building administrators to complete an evaluation process. And Allison is able to separate those out, and it's been really helpful. I know for some of our past superintendents, even before Bill, things that they thought they were not doing very well at, everybody said, oh, you're doing great at. And it was one less thing for them to fret about. Or if there's something that they thought they were doing really well at, there's some comments that maybe they aren't communicating as well or something. So again, it's not a process to, zing somebody. It's a really good process to help our superintendent do what we feel we need help with from the superintendent. So I think please take it as as a process like that. And then it's also good to see what the superintendent, feels and what he's feeling like he's struggling at, because maybe we can help him as boards. So is that, if that's good with everybody, we will send that out to all the board members.
Allison's good.
Allison first.
Oh, I'm sorry, Allison. I couldn't see it.
I just need to know if I'm responsible for it again, or if you guys are gonna do it.
No, please help us with it.
All you.
Okay. Is it all set? Like, did you guys go through it and check out the questions and it's all good?
I did, but were you good with the questions?
Yeah, it's virtually the same as last year.
Right. Or 2 years ago.
Or, yeah, 2 years.
So
Yeah,
go through, make a new one, send it to you guys, and you guys will send it out?
Yeah, or you send it to Bob, do you want him to just send that one out, and then that goes, we're sending a copy to all the board members so they can review it before the meeting, and then we'll just send one out to each board, to the chair of each of the boards, and we need to send one, will you send them out? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
No,
it
I
should
need,
come
I
from
need to
Allison.
send them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to send them out
Okay.
so that they come back to me and I keep them confidential.
Allison, I made a copy of Bill's and then just put the new dates and stuff on it. I can make you the owner of that and you can just take me off it, or you can make a copy of that and then use that as the one to send out.
That's fine too.
And then
And you
Bob,
want these
also-
to go to,
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead, Allison.
You want these to go to all the individual chairs within the next week or so?
If we could, so that they can do it in February board meetings. But also get the list from Bob on the certified people in central office and the administrators in all the buildings.
So it's basically the leadership team. It's
Right.
Principals and central office folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Lori, and then it's your certified people
Yep.
in the central office.
Okay.
And I don't remember, maybe Allison, you do, like, Leland and Gray has one principal or two, like a dean of students. I don't know if it was just the principal that did it or if there was another.
There's an assistant principal. Yeah.
So I would imagine.
We
maybe-
only sent it to one. We
Okay.
didn't send it to an assistant, but I can.
What do you think, Bob? What would you like to see?
I mean, my interaction is more with the principal, and then
So
the principal
let's do
interacts with the
that.
assistant. So whatever you guys want to do.
Is that good with every, go ahead.
Yeah, so, are the boards the only ones where we aggregate
Right.
into one board?
Yes.
Is there a reason why? I mean, I'm just wondering if Allison can just aggregate information from each of the board members. I mean, we can still say, this is from that board, but without us, having
So-
to do it in executive session, we could just,
Well, we used to try to do that and it got unwieldy. So at one time, when Emily may have been the chair at the time, we had a discussion. And what we felt was that it also gives the board, because board members may not have answers to all the questions, but it also would help all the board to have that discussion as a group. So that, well, what does this question mean? Or, I don't know what this is going on. So I thought it was really good to have the board do it as one. And then it's the data's less skewed. We used to do it by hand, and I gotta tell you, the sheets were crazy. So-
right, doing it by hand, completely agree,
Right.
but, click of a button, right, Allison, you can just, aggregate that information. But I get the fact that it's a robust discussion and.
I agree with
and
what you're
important to have.
saying. I just want to put that out there.
That we do it individually or as a group?
Individually.
Okay, so what do y'all wanna do? Go ahead, Emily.
I just want to make a plug for the board to do it as a group. I mean, I totally understand why everybody might want to do it individually, and I honestly would prefer this meeting's gone on a lot longer than I thought it was gonna, and I'd prefer our meetings to be short. But frankly, if we're going to have a robust discussion about this as a board, because we are doing it, even if we do them individually, Allison would be compiling them from a board. I think that we should be able to have that conversation as a board. So in the past, we've done it both ways, and I really prefer this way.
Thank you.
My
Emily.
question, when you say
Crystal?
individually, do you mean the individual people on each board, or you mean each individual board? And then, are you talking about individuals?
I'm saying I would like to see it be done at a board meeting by the board and use that board assessment as the contribution from that West River board in my case. Not individual single board members sending an individual evaluation to you and having you compile them into one for a board.
If I can just speak to that, Emily, I think you're correct simply because some of the questions are detailed and you may have not, I don't know how effective it would be because the questions were kind of tailored 2 board discussions. And I don't know that each individual board member would have had the experiences that they would need to be able to answer those questions. So it would be a lot of blank information. And there's lots of space for people to add multiple opinions within, like it's in a form, like a word, like a long paragraph format. So people can put multiple opinions in there, but to do it individually, I think it would be not as pertinent. It wouldn't be as relevant, maybe, is the word.
That's exactly what we found out in the past, Allison. So thank you.
Allison, was that a bunch of hearts that just floated in front of your face?
It was.
It was? Okay,
It was.
well, it's better than the last time something floated behind her. I think it was Rory, you're the one that said individuals, so were you talking individual boards or individual board members? Just.
So in my case, I would say individual board members.
Okay.
We have a small board. We're only 3, so, and we're all fairly new. So I'm not sure if we would run into issues not being able to answer questions, but I also err on the side of different viewpoints or different experiences between individual board members. That's just my opinion.
No, and that's why we're having this discussion, so thank you. I've got Crystal, and then I have, I'm sorry, who's next to Crystal? Rachel. So go ahead, Crystal, and then Al.
So I'm a member of the public now. I'm no longer a board member. So I'm sorry, Joe. I know you hate questions. I don't know if this is a question or a comment, and if I have a right to chime in. I have a little bit of concern. So I hope that when these reviews come in, that they're kind of looked at and you kind of look at it, the differences in the reviews. So if there was a review that was really far off and a really bad review compared to all the others, I just hope that gets looked at.
Okay, thank you for the comment, Crystal. Who's next?
Rachel.
Rachel, I'm sorry, Rachel. I can't see your name. It's too far away.
That's fine. I just wanted to support the idea of having a board discussion and sending one response. As a relatively new member, I think it would be helpful to hear other boards' opinion and have that discussion.
Thank you. And then Al?
I would like to suggest a happy medium. I'd love to have the board members each get it beforehand, fill it out, bring it to the discussion. It creates some ownership of it instead of just, hey, this is the last item on the agenda. We need to get out of here. So just kind of having that ownership up front and then having the discussion and then coming up with a final.
And that's what we're doing is Allison will send it to all the individual board members, but only the board chair will be able to submit the electronic version to her to be counted. So then it is up to the individual board members to do their homework and go through it, and then if they have questions that can be discussed and can be explained. At least that's a process we've used in the past. So.
Okay, so the board chairs will get the individual board members beforehand.
Or you can all.
Okay.
So in River Valley, everybody gets it via email from Allison. We ask them to do it ahead of time, and then we will all sit around. Hopefully they have their version, and we say, okay, this question, what did everybody think? And Joe said he gave him a 4, and she gave him a 2, and you gave him a 1, and okay, we have a discussion, we come up with a number, and then any comments. So at least that's how we've done it in the past. I think everybody else Emily's agreeing, but I think Allison, how'd you do it with your board? I know you've done it before.
We got together and did it. We didn't do it.
But they had it ahead of time, right?
Rich, I just don't remember. I'm so sorry.
Well, that's okay. I can't remember nothing either, obviously. I forgot the bus committee. So If you are all in agreement, we'll send it out ahead of time, but I think we just need to decide, do we want to do all the individual board members, or we want to do it by the board? I don't think we have, oh, go ahead, Emily, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to say I totally understand why we send it out separately. I really do want board members to come to that meeting where we have the superintendent evaluation on the agenda prepared with their thoughts. But I don't want to see us turning in individual board members turning our evaluation that we've done in isolation at home to the board chair and have the board chair just put all those together on their own and then submit that. I think it still needs to be, as you described, Rich, a robust discussion in a board meeting, at a board meeting with board members together. I feel pretty strongly about that because after having done this for so many years, that's the best feedback we've ever had, is when we do it that way. And I really want this to be a positive experience for both the superintendent and for the boards. And if Bob has, while I've got this microphone for one more second here, if Bob has an opinion about this, I would be more than happy to hear from Bob about it. It is our evaluation, but I also think that it needs to be a collaborative evaluation. And so I'm very mindful of that too. So anyway, thank you. I'll shut up now.
And Emily, you can remember one time when you and I got to see the evaluations ahead of time, and we're all sitting there down in the library, and then people start talking, and we're like, wait, that's not what this evaluation says. It was really quite interesting. So I think that the collaboration and everybody getting together and having a discussion. So Bob, are you? Yeah,
I mean, I would defer to the folks who have been doing this for a while and can speak to the quality of the feedback that's been there for previous superintendents. It's my first time, so I'm happy to try anything once, and we'll see what it looks like. And if the feedback's good and you guys feel good about it, then that's all we're looking for.
Okay, so
and then I assume after that's all gathered, then there's some body that meets with me to
the
kind of debrief
officers,
it.
usually the officers will then meet with you and review it.
Gotcha.
But before that, we usually meet with the full board.
Okay.
And we just discuss, okay, here's what we compiled, this is what we're gonna bring to the superintendent,
Gotcha.
and then you buy us all lunch and dinner and wine.
I mean, it depends on what it says, maybe I won't.
They'll say better things the more, wine everybody has. I don't drink. So I don't think we need a motion. Can we just kind of a straw poll? Is there anybody that disagrees with having the boards do it together so strongly that they would like to make a motion not to do it that way? How about that? Okay, then let's do that. So Allison, Bob will send it to you, you'll send it to all the board members. Bob will get you the list of who it should go to at central office and the administrators. And then, and you can get that all sent out, and then the boards, please try to get it done by the end of February. And Bob, you just need to make sure that your central office administrators get it in by the end of February, and you need to do your self-evaluation by the end of February. Go ahead.
Just a thought, not that we have any control over it, but would the administrators or others that are receiving it also do some similar collaborative effort?
We've never done that because they each have a little different piece, so they have different interactions with the superintendent, and that was why I was asking about when you were principal. Did you ever consult with your assistant principal when you did the evaluation?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I don't ever remember that being brought up either.
No, the hierarchy isn't quite there. So we didn't talk about it in leadership at all. It was never discussed. I just submitted my.
Right, because the superintendent doesn't supervise everybody but you.
Right.
And then, so they supervise under.
Right.
Okay.
It's not going to teachers.
Right.
Right. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Can I make one comment, Rich, just
go
about
ahead.
all that? Because Emily's made this comment in the past, and I just want to make sure it's not forgotten. The one thing with these feedback forms that's so important is the comments section, because a lot of it's radio dial, you can pick and click, but it's the comments section that really really lets the people that are reviewing it get a really strong picture of the opinions and what's going on. And that's what has been most helpful to Bill. I'm guessing will be most helpful to Bob. So please, when you're doing these, take your time, really fill out those comment section. And that's where you can also put in your differing opinions and what have you. It's all just for the benefit of Bob and, the board being able to give direction and move forward. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, Emily's always been very strong on written comments. And it doesn't have to be long, it's just a couple sentences why you rated him. Even if you rated him superior, we rate him superior because he brings so much joy to the meetings. Y'all can't see it, but Bob's shaking in his boots over here.
Very excited about the process.
So, item F, hiring challenges staff, just very quickly, I asked for that to be brought on because, Windham had some real challenges that they're still having. River Valley's had some challenges. My understanding is West River's still short several staff members. And so
Marlboro as well had some positions they just didn't fill. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things is on the state board, we do have the Secretary of Education show for most of the meeting. They sometimes have other meetings or press conferences. So I actually asked what they were doing at the state level, what the AOE is doing to help with staffing shortages. Are they offering programs? Are they doing mentoring, whatever? I don't know. And she did say there is some stuff that the AOE is doing, and we're supposed to get a fuller report on that at one of our next meetings. And I don't know, Emily, if legislature's talking about that. I know the work pool and the housing market and the economy are all kind of tied together. So I just wanted to see. I also, when I talked to Bob about this, we mentioned, should like the HR person from Windham Central be going to job fairs and trying to recruit people, or you say how wonderful it is to live in either the Deerfield Valley or the West River Valley for, come up here and have a great place to live. And if you like to ski, you can ski on weekends and you can teach students if that's what you really like. So I don't want to have a long discussion. I just want to put it out there for people to think about because I don't think it's going to get any better. And what can we do at Windham Central to make ours a better, if somebody's thinking, well, maybe I'll go to Deerfield or maybe I'll go up to Burlington, but hey, maybe I want to come to the valley. So we can have that discussion at a later point. I just wanted to put it out there to people. And then policy update, you had your policy committee meeting. Allison, I think, is chairing that. No, yes?
That was a lovely surprise for me today.
You didn't tell her, Bob?
We thought it was really a little shock and awe, really. Yeah.
We drew straws.
Nailing it.
She did a fantastic job, though.
She has.
My evaluation of her performance will be very good.
So Allison, next meeting, you're gonna have some policies for us, you hope.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so if we have nothing else in policy, item 6A, correspondence. Bob, I don't remember who the person was.
She's actually in the call. It's Crystal Corview.
Crystal had sent an email asking. So Emily, couple years ago, Bill, we had a discussion at Windham Central, Bill and Laura, and I thought you were working on possibly a bill that would allow SU choice. Thank you. And I know that we thought we could do it. Bill had put something together, and then either the attorney or AOE said that we can't do it because we're separate districts, and that it could be fixed with some piece of legislation. And I think Laura presented it. I don't know if you were on it, Emily, or I don't know. Laura said it was still on the wall. I don't know how we get it off the wall or if we can. And I didn't know if you had any input, or if you don't want to, I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm always happy to be put on the spot, but I'm not being put on the spot here because I did not have my name on that. I have not heard a thing about any legislation moving on that. But if I'd known ahead of time, I had a long conversation with Laura today about a bunch of stuff, and I would have asked her about the update, but I didn't because I didn't know this was coming, but I'm happy to look into it.
And I didn't know it was coming either, but we did get an email today. That's why I brought it up. So, yeah, I don't.
Wait, who got an email today?
Central office.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Asking for it to be part of the correspondence for tonight's meeting, so.
And that was from who?
Crystal Corby.
Oh, I get it, okay.
She was just asking
So, all
for,
right.
yeah, was there an update? What do we know about it? And so I kicked it to Rich and he added it to the.
So, when I was sitting in the
bill number
parking.
in that
Pardon?
email? Was
No.
the bill number in that email?
No, but I called Laura when I was sitting in the parking lot out front. That's why I was late to the policy thing. And she said it was on the wall, so I can find the bill number out if you want.
Well, if it's on the wall, I can probably find it, but if you had the bill number, it's just quicker, that's all.
Okay, I'll get that and I'll email that to you later.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you, whatever you can find out, because we were pushing hard on it we thought at River Valleys it would be really helpful. And we thought for all the schools, it gives a few more choices to students. So that's it for 6A. So the last thing is we have one more quick executive session to discuss the contract, an employee contract.
I move to find that the premature general public knowledge would clearly place the board at a substantial disadvantage.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is a unanimous decision.
I motion to enter executive session under 1 VSA 313A1 for the purpose of discussing contracts with employees.
Second,
Second, sure.
Al seconds it.
That's
Kate
right.
made the
Yeah.
motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is a unanimous decision. Bob's already kicking people out at 8:40.
We're good to move you out.
8:43.
Okay, so by unanimous consent, Meredith, we're out of executive session at whatever time it is.
8:50.
8:50. So do we have, we lost TV land.
Oh, no.
The display. We lost the display, but we're okay. They're all still on Bob's machine.
Okay.
I'm here.
You can still
I'm
hear us?
here.
Okay, well, you went off the screen. You guys got canceled.
We hear you.
Okay, so,
We see you.
Oh, you see us too? Wow.
yeah, we can't see you, so you can stick your tongue out at us and stick your fingers in your ear and
We can hear
go.
you though, so watch what you say, we can hear you.
No, we hear you. We're just not seeing you.
I would like to make a motion that the Windham Central Supervisory Board will renew the contract with the superintendent with the terms for the contract for the next 3 years.
Okay, do we have a second to that motion?
Sure. Second.
Joe seconds it. Meredith, did you get the motion okay?
Hey, they're back.
I think so.
Okay, Kate made a motion to renew the superintendent's contract by the terms of the contract for the next 3 years, and Joe seconded the motion. So is there any discussion? I'd just like to say, Bob, I'm very glad you're with us, and you're doing a great job, and I hope we have another 9 great years with you, buddy. So,
We'll see. We'll play it by ear.
all those in favor of the motion say Bob.
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 Aye.
Aye. Let's keep it legal.
Ayes work too. Is there anybody opposed? Hearing none opposed, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you guys very much. It's an honor.
Yeah.
It really
Hey,
is.
Emily,
Bob.
it's before 9 o'clock when we're supposed to adjourn, so I'm gonna let you adjourn, or you can stay till 9. It's up to you.
I will make a motion.
Hey, wait,
that we
one quick
adjourn.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It says next
nobody
meeting.
seconded it.
It says next March meeting is March 28th. That's a Thursday. Did we move it off of Wednesday for something, or is that a typo?
Oh, I think maybe we should have discussed Bob's contract a little more.
Probably a typo.
Okay, so we are going to meet on Wednesday, March 27th. Is
That's
that?
what I was,
when we're
that's what
supposed
I,
to meet.
that's what I had on my calendar, and I was like, did something change? I gotta ask.
Hey, everybody, March 27th, okay, not March 28th. If you're there, you're a day late.
Okay, Emily, it's all you now. Sorry.
Make a motion to adjourn. No worries.
Second,
Second.
ayes.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good meetings.
Thank you.
Sorry
Thank
it
you,
went a
guys.
little long.
Thank you.
You had it till 9. You got it all.